Hi, everybody. Coming on. It is day 1792, and it might not be right because it's been really crazy. We'll see if, everything's working. And a little emotional, to be honest with you, just a little emotional tonight, and just rushing to come on because trying to make sense of the evil, right? And you can't make sense of the evil. And this is really evil stuff that we're dealing with. So let's start. 1792 days since Richard was forcibly removed from his barracks room, and his life was taken from him because he couldn't be compromised. If you've read Pilgrim's Progress, you'll understand when I talk about Vanity Fair. You're in Vanity Fair and you're just surrounded. He was surrounded. And he was surrounded at taxpayers' expense. It was taxpayers' money that was paying for all of this evil. That's still doing it. And so he reported, but those that he was reporting to meant him harm. Even though they had the obligation, they had the responsibility to care for him, to do their duty, to have oversight, to defend the Constitution, to protect the country, the land, and the people. They're traitors. They were absolute traitors. And they did it for money. This is criminal trafficking, can make a lot of money. And the thing is that they're not too happy, right? They're not too happy, and they have nightmares. I've been told that they have nightmares. I've been told they have nightmares, that they're not happy. Even with the money, they're not happy. Things are ruined and lost relationships with their spouses. I mean, look at Nadal Baim of Western Frontier Trading, the Palestinian arms dealer, who's the father-in-law of Lieutenant Colonel Bradford Bugado, who confessed that Richard's remains were found in Juarez, and it was a secret, right? It was a secret. He's not happy, and it's ruined his relationship. I mean, decades-long marriage, and now they're divorced. Maybe they're just legally divorced. Maybe they're protecting property because they were, big time in real estate and warehouses. When you're trafficking, you have to have warehouses, right? And now with all the new information coming up with the tunnels, corroborating what we already been saying, that there's tunnels. But this is that there's tunnels underneath the schools. And we took a look at the tunnels. I wanted to put that up, but all this other information has come out today, and you can look it up on Google Earth. But look at elementary schools along the border. I think the Guillen Elementary School. I think there's a high school. I think there's a Heart School. I guess the Hearts have a long history there, and in El Paso, and they're connected with the Mormons. They're connected with the Mormons, and the Mormons, Casa Grandes, Nova Casa Grandes, is the settlement, the Mormon settlement, and where Romney's father was born over there, by Colonial Juarez, and in Mexico, in that area, that settling area. And of course, we know that in Richard's case, there is a common denominator with many, many, and it is that they're Mormon. So this absolutely has to do with Mormons. Um, and why am I talking about that tonight? Because news is coming out. Marco Rubio, he's the Secretary of State, a very good Secretary of State so far. So far, anyway. We'll see. We'll see what the future has to hold, but he seems to be doing just an amazing job. And he has a big job in front of him because they just found on the on the Casa Grandes Road, they found a crematorium, an illegal crematorium. It started out with, maybe about 2 dozen, maybe not even 2 dozen bodies. Now it's up to 300. 300. And what did they find? And what does Maru Campos, she's the governor of Chihuahua, what does she have to do with all of this? What did she know about all of this? And this is really, who could deal with her? If she knew about this, because funeral homes were involved in this. That's the information coming out. I wonder if one of them was Purchase Funeral Home um, that was involved in this. I don't know. I don't know. I know that there are 3 contracted funeral homes that are part of this illegal crematorium. That's 300 bodies. One's in a car. Many are just stacked up on top of each other in non-air conditioned rooms. It's just so inhumane. It's a war crime, really. It's a war crime because there's a war going on there. And I think the owners of the property were killed. They didn't want them to speak. And so I know Marco Rubio has a big job in front of him. I wonder how President Trump is going to handle this. I wonder if they will find soldiers amongst those 300 U.S. soldiers. I wonder if they're going to find U.S. soldiers amongst those 300. Maybe are they going to find some veterans? I don't know. This is huge, huge breaking news because how can Governor Abbott have any kind of signings or agreements with Chihuahua with this kind of, it's almost like the genocide pictures of the Second World War, right? It's just absolutely horrible. 300 bodies, and just the inhumaneness of it, and attached to funeral homes. So I'm just speechless and pretty emotional with all of this. So I'm gonna leave that for tonight because we know that there's tunnels. We know that there's tunnels, and that's a huge problem for the security, a breach of security. And what this proves is that we've been right all along, that Richard was absolutely whistleblowing. And he wanted to be CID, y'all. He watched Psych. I don't know how many times he watched Psych, read Sherlock Holmes, any kind of PI show. There's all kinds of them. Um, that he was all about law enforcement and private investigation. And so he, distinguished honor graduate from basic training and AIT, and sparkling clean, totally sparkling clean, even though they tried to frame him, they tried to smear his name, they tried to use UCMJ on him, They tried to do everything, and he came out squeaky clean, sparkling. Um, and of course, we know that his car was trafficked by the business of the family of Manny Chavira that's connected to Bob Moore, of El Paso Matters. And we know that there is that Manny Chavira is a fake El Paso ISD chief of police because he illegally took that position without a peace officer's license, and then never and didn't get it when he was supposed to, even with the waiver or whatever. I mean, he has it now, but he was late. He never met his obligations with it. We know that Bill Hicks and James 2028 stamp Montoya is also fake. They're also fake. We know that the judges on the El Paso Mag Court fake. They're disenfranchised the voters, and they're illegal. It's a real big problem with civil rights, are not following the Texas Constitution. That's why they're fake. We know that Mario Raskin Ortiz, the chief medical examiner, fake, illegal, unauthorized. So, there's just this ongoing fake imposters. Because of, we know with Renee Lewis Diaz and Otura Alba, and we know just because of witness statements and everything. But we have hard evidence that the cartel are involved. So it is, corroborated that there was a cover-up and a cover-up of a cover-up in the unresolved murder of our son. And I don't know if I'm supposed to say that word, M word. And we're working very, very hard to get the answers. And this is with Marco Rubio. I think this will help us get answers. So thank you so much. God bless you, and I will be back